Hey BookTube, welcome back. I'm Winx, and the ink I'm talking about today is Tailchaser Song by Tad Williams. This is basically an epic fantasy novel that takes place in the world of cats. So obviously I had to read this one. I actually did a buddy read on this one. I mentioned this previously in some of my videos. A few of my good friends and I have sequential birthday months, so we decided to do a system where the person who has the birthday that month picks the book that we then all read. Two of those friends are Mike and Kelsey, and Mike has a Goodreads page and Kelsey has a BookTube channel called Kelsey Fish, so I will put links to both of those below and I encourage you to go check them out. So I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and this really had the potential to be a 5-star book for me. It involved a lot of my favorite features that you find sometimes in SFF books, but the reason that I took off the 1 star was partly because the first half of the book was pretty slow. Admittedly, a lot of that is because you are sort of learning about cat culture and mythology, but the slow pace went on for a really long time, which I think could make it really easy for someone to feel discouraged and DNF the book. But the second half definitely picked up the pace, and I'm very glad that I stuck with it. And the second reason why I took off that 1 star is because I felt like the ending was a bit abrupt. I like how it ended plot-wise, and it was kind of an open ending, but I wish that we would have gone a step or two further along in the story before the actual book ended and we got the open ending. So those are my only 2 main criticisms on the book. Otherwise, I thought this book was fantastic. So this book takes place in our world and presumably about the time that it was written, which is 1985, I believe. But there really isn't a lot to base off of that, except that there's a couple references to human civilization, so from that I'm gleaning that it's modern-ish times. But for the most part, we're just looking at feral or wild cat society. And one of my favorite things to find in fantasy books is a lore, mythology, theology kind of thing for that world. And this one has that. All throughout this book, we hear stories, or songs, they're called songs in the book, that talk about the first cats and the creation of the world and how mankind came to be. They call humans man, but it's M''A''N. And basically the belief is that humans are servants to the cats. Also, one of the songs that someone told in the book I thought was hilarious. I think it was like one of the deity/original cats, but they came across another cat who had been a pet and was neutered, and when the deity cat realizes that the other cat has been neutered, he has this super dramatic reaction of just, man! And I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, it's really interesting to see this whole set of beliefs. And even with all of that and the fact that we're hearing the cats talk to each other, the cats still seem like normal cats. They don't seem like cartoony, personified kind of creatures. They just act like normal cats, and we're just being able to see into their world, and it's way more deep and awesome than we would have expected. Another favorite thing of mine to find in a fantasy book is a new language, and this book also has that. All throughout the book there are little words thrown out that is just part of the cat language, and at the end of the book there's a glossary. And a lot of these sound like noises that cats would make. So my favorite is actually the word for squirrel, which is rick-chick-chick, which to me sounds just like the chirpy noise that cats will make whenever they see a squirrel outside and can't get to it. There are words like that all throughout the book, and it just added this really neat layer that made me feel even more immersed in the world. The story follows Tailchaser, who is this orange tabby on the front, and he is kind of a younger cat, and he basically at one point decides that he needs to go on this journey. So he swears an oath and he starts out, and it ends up being a way scarier and more dangerous journey than he expected. He also ends up adding other characters to his party along the way, and it gets a kind of Lord of the Rings journey feel to it. All the characters are sort of unlikely hero types, and I really loved all of the main characters. I felt like they all had really unique personalities and cool backgrounds, and all while still feeling like a cat and not like a personified cat. In addition to all of that, there's also a bit of magic in the book. In the first chunk of the book. We don't see as much of it. The only thing that was kind of magical that I remember from the beginning of the book are these cats that are called like master seers, and that are sort of prophetic. And I think I was so focused on cat behavior that I sort of took that in stride and interpreted as that way that some cats seem to just know things without really the ability to know things. So I didn't really think of it as magic so much, but as the book progresses, you see more magic. So because the beginning built up so much with, like I said, this real cat behavior stuff, and then the magic started to increase more along the way, it definitely had a magical realism vibe to me, and I really enjoy magical realism in general, so that was definitely another one for me. This copy that I got also came with an intro from the author, which I thought was really neat, and I think this was some sort of anniversary edition of it, but I'm not sure. But if you were buying it, that's something to look for. It just sort of talked about how he came to write this book, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. If not for the kind of slow beginning and kind of abrupt ending, I would have definitely given it 5 stars. I can already tell that this is going to be one I reread in the future, and I'm definitely going to have to check out more of Tad Williams' books. I highly recommend this book, especially to anyone who loves cats and who loves fantasy. If that's you, this book is a win all around. Thank you guys for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I hope everybody's week is getting off to a good start, and I will talk to you later. Bye!